Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Welcome to another episode on symbolism. Today we will see the symbolic significance of a lesser known story from the Puranas, and this is a story where Lord Vishnu offers his prayers, his worship to Lord Shiva through archana as he chants the Shiva Sahasranam. So this is the story that is in the Puranas. I am not sure which Purana this story appears in, but very clearly this is part of the Shiva Mahimna Stotram. This is in fact mentioned in it comes in the 19th verse of the Shiva Mahimna Stotram, and there the composer Pushpadanta, as he composes this entire Shiva Mahimna Stotram, he has included various stories of in the context of Lord Shiva, and it is beautifully strung into this beautiful stotram called the Shiva Mahimna Stotram. And in that, one of the stories taken up is this, to bring out the greatness of Lord Shiva as the one who was worshipped by Lord Vishnu, and what kind of worship we will see as we take up that story and the beautiful symbolism. All these things would be quite hidden from us if we just read the stories in the Puranas, or we heard this Shiva Mahimna Stotram, and it wouldn't, it's there, it's a nice story to listen to, but the purpose for which this Purana was written, for the purpose for which these stories were brought out, would be lost. And it is indeed the grace of the great masters who come on earth from time to time in order to ensure that this beautiful knowledge stays alive through various means, and stories is one beautiful such means. I am ever grateful to Pujya Swami Maheshwaranandaji, who has given innumerable number of such symbolic significances for so many stories that appear in the Puranas. Some are popularly known, some are not very well known, but the way he gives us the stories, and along with the significance, that the symbolic significance, it kind of helps us also to see a story that comes either in the Upanishads or in the Puranas or in the epics. We learn to also see the symbolism that is there, and in fact if we dwell on the story, the symbolism just kind of gets revealed. And our Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji always emphasized how these great masters, these great saints like Sri Veda Vyasji, they're like a painter who paints but with words, and story is nothing but words, but painted in such a beautiful manner, such that the scenes of the story actually come alive in front of us. This, the idea of sharing these stories along with their symbolic significance is a way of offering gratitude to these great masters who push us to dwell upon the true import of these stories and to fulfill the purpose for which they were written. One is for us to understand it ourselves, and the other is to be able to share it with others. So here is a humble attempt through this story. We will first do the story, and maybe we will also do the verse from the Shiva Mahimna Stotram, and then take up the story and then the symbolism behind it. Yeah, so we will see what the stotram is telling. I will just chant the 19th verse of the Shiva Mahimna Stotram. It goes like this. Hariste sahasram kamalabali madhaya padayoho yadeko ne tasmin nijamudaharan netra kamalam gato bhaktyudrekah parinati masau chakravapusha trayanam rakshayai tripurahara jagarti jagatam. This is the word. Now we will look at the story which this verse was referring to. So it is said that Lord Vishnu had the habit of offering worship to Lord Shiva every morning, and this was in the form of Sahasranama Archane. So he would chant the Shiva Sahasranamas, the Namavali, and offer Archane. And what would he do the Archane with? We all do it with either flowers or Akshate, right? So he would use lotus flowers for the Archane as he chanted the Namas. And how many did he use? Sahasranama. So 1000 names, 1000 flowers. And every morning this was the ritual. And it was his practice that he would not eat anything until he had completed this Shiva Puja. Now, one morning, as he was doing the Archane, the flowers got over in the 999th Nama. So he was short with one flower. So how would he fulfill that one flower being less? One flower less. So what? Netra Kamala. In fact, that comes in that verse which I just chanted. So Netra Kamala, he decided that he would offer his very eyes, which is as beautiful as the lotus. He took his eyes and offered it along with chanting the last Nama and completed the Archane for that morning. And at that point, Lord Shiva was so pleased by this extreme expression of Lord Vishnu's devotion that he appeared before him, restored the eye, or rather it can be said that he was given by Lord Shiva the Sudarshana Chakra, with which he would protect the three worlds. And Lord Shiva, his portfolio is destruction, but Lord Vishnu's portfolio is maintenance. Sudarshana Chakra is a weapon, and we would think that Sudarshana Chakra is a weapon for destruction. Why did it have to be with Lord Vishnu, and why do they say that it was given to him so he could protect the three worlds? We will see how it all beautifully adds up when we see the symbolism behind it. Otherwise also, of course, it can be told that dushta shikshanam, so you have to destroy the evil, and for that he uses the Sudarshana Chakra. Indeed, that is the truth. But how? Is it merely saying evil? What is that evil? Who is that evil? And how does one destroy it with the Sudarshana Chakra? So all these questions will get answered when we look into the symbolism. As for the story, this is it. Let us see what the symbolism says. Now, the Sthula Sharira, this is called the Sthula Sharira. We have three Shariras. Sthula Sharira, we have Sukshma Sharira, which is the world of thoughts, and we have the Karana Sharira, which is where we dwell when we are in deep sleep. It is Karana, that is the Bija, the cause, it's called the causal body. So these are the three bodies. Now it is in this Jagrat Avastha, or the wakeful state, the waking state, that is where this Sthula Sharira is used, right? It is where it is expressed. As we move into the dream state, this Sthula Sharira is lying down, no work for it. Now the Adhishtatri Devata, the main Devata who takes care of this gross body, is Lord Vishnu. And you can see the word Jagarti comes in that 19th verse of Shiva Mahimna Stotram. Now it is in this waking state that we have all our experiences, mainly because right now we are in the waking state. I am speaking in the waking state, you are listening in the waking state, this recording is happening in the waking state. So when we talk of experiences, naturally we are talking of experiences in the waking state. The experiences in the dream state, we dismiss it, saying it's a dream, what do I have to do with that? So, but for me, very significant is the experience in the waking state. So Lord Vishnu is the Adhishtatri Devata of the gross body, which is the medium for expression in the waking state. Now, Lord Vishnu is not just the, he takes care of this preservation or protection aspect. Lord Shiva is the destruction aspect. Lord Brahma is the creation aspect. This is fine. But in reality, are there three different gods? We understand that there is only one God, but the same God, when it is the power of creation, he is referred to as Lord Brahma. When it's the power of maintenance or protection, then he goes by the name Lord Vishnu, and the same goes by the name Lord Shiva when it is the power of destruction. Now, what is this, the same, the one that it's being referred to? That is the life principle. That is the main life principle. You can also call it consciousness or Satchitananda, if you would like the technical name, existence, consciousness, bliss. Now, this life principle is ever there, whether there are any experiences or not. The life principle is there, and when one goes through the experiences, whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, every experience gets offered to that life principle in us, in the sense that it borrows the very existence from that life principle. The experience borrows its very existence from the life principle. It borrows what we call as consciousness, sentiency, that experienceability, that is also borrowed from this life principle, and then the joy that is got through that experience. So, this life principle is the substratum. In its presence, all this is happening, the whole experience is happening. And so, whether we know it or not, it is being offered to this life principle. But when we offer it consciously, knowingly, acknowledging the life principle in us, then it becomes worship. And that is what is meant by Lord Vishnu does not eat anything until his puja is done. So, for us, what is the symbolic significance in this process? Let us offer every experience to that life principle in us. In the story, the life principle is represented by Lord Shiva. So, when I experience anything, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I first tell the Lord, you are in me as that life principle, and every experience that I go through, every action I perform, every experience it results in, I offer to you. In fact, it is only upon offering that we can experience. Lord Vishnu eating something means what? Experiencing something is expressed as eating something. So, this is the significance of Lord Vishnu first completing his puja and then eating or going through an experiencing. Alright. Now, how does he do his puja? Sahasranama Archane he is doing towards to the life principle, that is to Lord Shiva. He uses 1,000 lotus flowers. Lotus, we all understand the symbolic significance of this flower is that just as the lotus, the leaf, the flower, everything, it lives in muddy waters. It is born in muddy waters, it grows in muddy waters, it blooms as it comes out in the sun's rays. As the sun rays fall on that bud, beautiful bud, it opens up into a lovely lotus. Despite all that murky, dirty waters around it, the leaf of the lotus flower, the petals of the lotus flower, the very lotus flower itself remains untouched. That dirty water cannot dirty the lotus. So, lotus represents what we call as detachment. So, asangatva, if you want the technical word, to be asanga, to not get attached. It is not attached to those muddy waters, although it is the muddy waters that nourishes that plant, nourishes the flower. Yet, the flower remains untouched by the murk or the dirt in the water. So, we go through a lot of experiences technically called bhoga, right? And as we go through every experience, the bhoga, let us offer that with detachment, in the sense saying, idam na mama, this is not mine, I have nothing to do with this, it's all yours. Tere tujhko arpan. So whatever is yours is being offered, and it has nothing to do with it, is not mine. I don't, there is no ahankara bhava there. I am not the enjoyer. You are indeed the enjoyer. Without you, what enjoyment is possible? So with that attitude of devotion, when the experience is offered, when the bhoga is, the enjoyment is offered, that becomes worship. And when I say idam na mama, then I have offered it without my stamp on it, without the stamp of this I, this jiva, this little fellow. There is the offering, and that offering is true offering. And Lord Vishnu offers a lotus flower to Lord Shiva. In the story, we offer all our experiences, our bhoga, each flower in that Sahasra, 1,000 experiences, let us say. So we have so many more in a day itself, we have probably more than that. Anyway, so we offer our experiences just as that lotus flower is untouched by that murky waters, so also the experience, when I offer it to you, it has no stamp of the I or that ahankara. That is the idea of asangatva. Alright, so Lord Vishnu has been doing this puja, and that one morning there's one flower less, and so he offers his netra kamala. What does this mean? What is netra? Netra is eyes, we all know that. Just the eyes doesn't make much sense, but when we take it as drishti, a vision, a way of seeing, then it all adds up. So when my drishti is devoid of I am seeing, devoid of the stamp of I, such vision would be netra kamala. One morning there was one flower less. How do we explain that? Now it could happen at some point that my bhogas, for that moment there is no experience happening. So should the worship stop? Not necessarily, right? So whatever may be the case, experience or no experience also is a kind of experience. So it's one flower less, but now the drishti on that bhoga has sort of ended. As one keeps offering this type of worship every day without that I stamp, slowly what happens, the interest in the bhogas drop, and then one becomes antarmukhi, one starts turning inwards. So this is the beginning of the inward journey through bhakti. Now as one looks inward, the drishti becoming antarmukhi, now that atma drishti, which is the drishti turned within towards the atma, is now referred to as netra kamala. There also we need asangatva, because every thought that is experienced, every emotion that is experienced, that is still an experience. There also that stamp is there, my thought, my feeling. There is an identification with each of those, as though I am that very thought or I am that very emotion. And so removing that stamp, removing the stamp of I-ness, that is asangatva, that is netra kamala. A vision devoid of attachment. So this is the significance of Lord Vishnu offering his netra kamala. Now as the drishti becomes antarmukhi, what happens? The story, offering of that netra kamala gave rise to that Sudarshana Chakra. So here also, as one keeps going inwards, as the drishti keeps getting more and more antarmukhi, what happens is there is a Sudarshana that happens. Our vision gets transformed into something beautiful. Su is a prefix added, and Su stands for, it can mean two things. Samyak, the appropriate, the right one. It can also be Sundara, the beautiful one. So our vision, our attitude, because Darshana is Jnana, right? Because vision means what? Vision is knowledge. To see something means to know it, and so Darshana is, one is vision, but that vision is basically indicative of knowledge. Darshana equal to Jnanam. Now, Sudarshana can be Samyak Darshana or Sundara Darshana. Both are actually, at the end of it, both are one and the same. Now, this Sudarshana or appropriate Jnanam, the right Jnanam, the beautiful Jnanam, this is now referred to as the Adhyatma Jnana or the Atma Jnana. Why was the Sudarshana Chakra given to Lord Vishnu? It is said that it was given for him to protect the three worlds. Three worlds, as we were discussing earlier, world refers, or loka, world, refers to field of experience. And if you take all our experiences put together, we have three fields of experiences. And those fields of experiences are the waking state, dream state and the deep sleep state. Jagrada Avastha, Swapna Avastha and Sushupti Avastha. Now, protection, lokas, field of experience, can also refer to Sharira. And accordingly, we have three Shariras. In the Jagrata Avastha, Sthula Sharira, this cross body. In the dream state, we have the subtle body or the Sukshma Sharira. And then in the deep sleep state, we have the causal body or the Karana Sharira. So, three fields of experiences, that can be seen as three worlds or three Shariras. So, Lord Vishnu is the protector of the three worlds. We are not going to go looking for some heaven or hell, not any physical world, but it makes most sense when we take it as our fields of experience. So, Lord Vishnu through the Sudarshana Chakra protects the three worlds. So, the Bhakta or the seeker through Sudarshana or Atma Jnana or Samyak Jnana or Sundara Jnana takes care of the three fields of experience. Takes care meaning how? The Sudarshana basically is consciousness. Atma Jnana means what? Atma Jnana is Atma, the life principle. It is in the presence of the life principle that everything is happening, isn't it? So, in that sense, we have the protection of the three worlds, because that is the very ashraya. Without that, where are the three worlds? So, protection happens in the very ashraya itself. This is the symbolic significance of the story. In the 19th verse of the Shiva Mahimna Stotram that was chanted earlier, we can see that in the last line there is a mention of Lord Shiva as Tripura Hara and the chakra being given to Lord Vishnu, Trayanam Rakshaya. So, to Lord Vishnu, the Sudarshana Chakra was given so he may protect the three worlds. And what is Lord Shiva referred to as? Tripura Hara. Hara, destroyer. Destroyer of what? Tripura. Three Puras, three worlds, three fields of experience. So, on one hand, we have Lord Shiva destroying the three fields of experiences. On the other hand, we have Lord Vishnu protecting the three worlds of experiences. How do we put these two together? Now, while one is in a particular field of experience, it is very important that that field of experience be protected for the sake of the experiencer, isn't it? Because it is through that experience that one grows out of that experience. So, in order to protect that, we need the right vision, the right knowledge in order to protect our field of experience. Meaning what? How do I see that field of experiences? How do I utilize it? How do I go through it and stay equipoised. And why do we go through the experience? So that we can outgrow the experience. And there's a larger purpose to the whole thing in a spiritual sadhana. In spiritual sadhana, we observe the experience, we learn from the experience, and then outgrow. This is the very important part of spiritual sadhana. So it's very important that the field of experience be protected. And what is the best way to protect this field of experience? The right attitude, the right vision, the right knowledge. That is what is needed. That is Sudarshana. And hence, this Sudarshana was given to Lord Vishnu so he may protect the three fields of experiences. The same Sudarshana is also required in order to destroy these three fields of experiences. So, Lord Shiva, the Lord of Destruction, is also referred to as Tripura but Hara. On this side, Lord Vishnu is also associated with the three worlds, but the three worlds being protected by him. And on the other hand, Tripura Hara, Lord Shiva, destroys the same three fields of experience. And how is the destruction made possible? By simply staying as a witness of the three worlds of experience. And it's simple logic that I am not what I experience. I am not what I see. So what does the witness do? He simply sees, right? He has no involvement or connection whatsoever with what he is seeing. That's why he is the witness. In fact, that's why he is so important in the court, isn't it? Even here is the same thing. A witness is one who is not involved with the event. And so, I stand apart from the three fields of experience. I stand as a witness of the three fields of experiences. That one that stands apart from the fields of experience is the Sakshi, another name given to the life principle, to the Atma, only from the point of view of the field of experience, seen from its own point of view. That's it, just is. It is not even a witness. Satchit Ananda, in reference to the fields of experience, is a witness. Rather, you can say it is in the costume of a witness. Why is the costume needed? Because it is in reference to something. It is in reference to the field of experience. But by itself, it is not even a witness. It just is. And this Satchitananda life principle or Atma in this story, in this context, is referred to as Lord Shiva, while Lord Vishnu represents the Bhakta or the Sadhaka, the high, a Sadhaka who has reached the highest rung of the spiritual ladder. So this is a beautiful symbolic significance of a beautiful story where one, if you see even as a story, one god worships another god, meaning what? There is no high, low, there is no greater or smaller when it comes to the God principle. There is only one. The same one manifests based on the function required in the creation. So, even from just the story's point of view, it's a beautiful story. And when you see the symbolic significance, for someone who claims to be on the spiritual path, it has such beautiful hidden truth in it, such beautiful hidden pointers that stand as a guide for us in our spiritual journey. I'm sure that this story you all enjoyed, and I'm sure that the symbolic significance will have great value for you as you walk this spiritual path. And my humble pranams at the feet of the entire Guru Parampara, because this symbolism comes to us from various masters in various contexts, whether they are explaining to us a Bhagavad Gita verse or they're explaining an Upanishad, or they're simply telling the Bhagavad Katha or a story from the Shiva Purana, somewhere or the other, but they always take us to the symbolism behind it. And that is the way to take this not very well prepared mind to those heights of knowledge where a very subtle and clean mind is required. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.